On today's episode, we're answering the question, no, we're not, because I'm on the wrong damn outline.
Again, I don't want to say it should be one way or the other, because it'll depend on like you as the business owner and the kind of business you have. So really, you just need to sit down and think like, what do I want this to be? Like for me, part of that decision process was, do I want to always be a solopreneur where it's just me, in which case I could, just keep it as my name and there'd be no problem. Or do I want to leave it open to possibly grow into more? If I do want to have like a studio and employees or partners or something someday, then it would make sense to maybe not just be my name personally. So that was one of the considerations I used. So it'll be different for everybody, but the important part is just to sit down and think about it.
Really like that point that you have to think about the future as to whether, it's really hard to sell Allison Lex.
Also hard if you ever wanted to sell your business. Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Also hard to sell Rock Your Marketing because the name is not great. But all right. So we're ready to go and develop this brand. What's step number one?
Step number one, carve out some time where you have some quiet, where you can actually really think and dive deep into all this. And I kind of ran through some of the ideas earlier, but whether you like look up, some kind of like core brand worksheet, or you're working with a coach or a brand designer or whatever, there are going to be some questions that you'll have to work through and answer. And so again, it starts with, what do you want for your business? Your vision for it, why it exists, its purpose. How do you want it to be perceived? Like answering all these questions is the first step. And that does take some time and some effort. You don't want to just kind of wing it or give kind of flip answers that you're not really thinking about. You want to make sure you're creating the business you want. Like, what do you want in your business is really what you need to sit down and figure out first.
I think people struggle with the whole, what do you want for your business thing? I know that I have in the past, and it takes a lot of time. And I think we should throw in here that maybe it's a 2-day stay in an Airbnb in a location that is separate from, the normal day to day. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea.
What a wonderful idea.
Yeah, a little mini business retreat or
right?
Whatever you can manage, carve out some time to do that.
Not like we weren't talking about that off camera. But I, how do we take what we've created as our core brand and then put it out in the world? Do we make a statement? Do we do a press release? Like, our press release is even a thing anymore. I come from the corporate world. That was always a thing. Like, what do we do? Ta-da, I'm here. What's the step?
Yeah. So once you have the core brand kind of fleshed out and clarified and like you feel good about it, the next thing is to use it. So you use it by applying it to your business decisions. So, when you're looking at design pieces, for example, you want to say, okay, do these colors, do these fonts, do they say what I want them to as far as like, the personality I want to give off for my business or the qualities I want to give off for my business. So for example, if you pick, say, eco-friendly for one of the qualities you want to be known for, you're probably going to have some earthy colors in your color palette, probably heavy on the greens, maybe some blue and browns. When you go to like print pieces or have packaging, whatever, you might focus on having recycled paper or eco-friendly inks, or, that cool seed paper that people can plant after they're done with your thing, you might set aside part of your business profits to donate to, earth-friendly organizations. There's so many ways this can trickle down into other areas of your business, but you have to know what you're aiming for first. So there's that. And then for the audience part, like once you know who you want to work with, it really helps you go find them where they are. Like, how can you find your audience if you don't know like who you're looking for? It'll help you find which social media channels you should be spending your time on. It'll help you find speaking or podcast guest appearance events if they're, talking to your audience. It'll help you know how to talk to them. It'll, inform your words and your copy and your messaging and your marketing. It'll help you conduct more relevant market research because you can make sure the people who are answering, your surveys or whatever are actually part of the target group whose opinion you should care about for your business. So like all of these things, figuring out all those steps first, they trickle down into everything. They serve as like guidelines and guideposts for like which way you go in your business, basically.
You mentioned something in there that I want to just kind of touch on because I'm a copywriter. So I always think about the messaging. And one of the things that I've really been working on lately is like these brand, not even brand, but I call it copy voice.
Yeah,
Right.
brand voice.
So
Yeah.
it's essentially brand voice, but
Mhm.
it's just the way that we're approaching our copy. It's the personality that I'm putting into the copy. And I have my own little descriptors. I have the stern teacher, I have the big sister, I have the kind grandpa, I have the guru on the mountain.
Yeah.
But that is important because when you identify that stuff, that's how you get the consistency.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. When you can't have consistency if you don't have like something, to aim for. Again, like you might have one thing one week and another thing another week because you're just kind of throwing things together without any strategy or plan. The core brand is your plan. It is your guide. So it helps you be consistent across everything. It's great.
On today's episode, we're answering the question,